Okay, you're ready. You're signed up for EMDR therapy with a therapist. You're ready to go. You're ready to bypass hours of talk therapy and CBT and get on the highway to healing. My name is Sierra Lusby. I am a trauma therapist. I have helped tons of people heal from years of trauma. I want to talk today about some do's and don'ts for EMDR therapy as a client. Do make sure that you are well rested and hydrated and fed before your session. Arrange your session at a time of day where you've been able to have a meal and you're alert and awake and ready to do the work. After your session as well, you do the same thing. You rest. You make sure that you eat, get some protein in you. Protein helps solidify the neural pathways that you're building, and hydration. Your brain is doing a lot of work for you behind the scenes and it needs some support. So making sure that your whole system is ready, almost like you're ready to run a marathon, you're prepared, you're rested, you're hydrated, you're fueled, you're ready to do a trauma healing marathon. Don't, even if you have a prescription, smoke any marijuana or take any benzodiazepines, or benzos as we call them. For marijuana, I tell my clients 4 to 6 hours before and after an EMDR reprocessing session, we should abstain, and ideally, honestly, the whole day. Benzos, it depends on the half-life. You don't want any in your system while you're doing your reprocessing. It slows and or blocks the reprocessing that you're doing, and it's just kind of a waste of your time. Well, no therapy is a waste of your time, but you know what I mean. The reason for this is that there's a lot of neuroscience behind it that I won't get into, but we want to get the most out of our therapy, right? We want to make sure that we are prepared. So if you're having a really hard time not doing any of that before or after a session, please, please, please bring that into your therapist. It's going to be much better for you to address that and talk through it and figure it out before you get into the deep trauma healing. Don't do reprocessing in your first therapy session. Dare I say, not even your second therapy session. It's really, even if a therapist says, okay, let's get into it, we're going to do reprocessing today, think about your trauma, and they start trying to do EMDR with you, say respectfully, no, thank you. I would like to get to know you before we go into my trauma. Okay, so do get to know your therapist, get to trust your therapist, build rapport with your therapist, do some resourcing, practice, get ready, learn some skills before you go into the reprocessing of your trauma. Even if you have been holding onto your trauma for so long and you're ready to get rid of it, you're ready to take that scar tissue out, take your time, slow down. Every step of the process in getting to know your therapist and building skills is vital, vital for you feeling safe when you reprocess your trauma. Do ask your therapist any questions that you have about EMDR. That includes sharing any doubts that you have about EMDR, any fears that you have about EMDR, any hesitations or blocks that you feel before going into reprocessing. Don't go into a deep dive online and read every single blog and every single website and learn all about EMDR and when it goes right and when it goes wrong. You know who I'm talking to. Don't do it. As tempting as it is to have control and understand what's going on, I need you to stay away from the deep dive. What that can do is it can introduce us to stories that are irrelevant to ours, that cause us anxiety going into trauma treatment. There's also a lot of false information out there. Anybody can make a blog, I guess, or a blog. And you just want to make sure that you're getting your information from a trusted source. So ask your therapist. And I always recommend that clients go on to EMDRIA, EMDRIA.org, which is the EMDR International Association website. And generally, right, we learned this when we were young, when you're looking up information online, it's probably good to stick with the .orgs more than the .coms. Fun fact. Hope that helps too. Last and never least, do please leave your trauma in the office. Leave it with me. Leave it on the screen. Leave it in your therapist's office. When you have completed a reprocessing session in EMDR, it's like you have anti-homework. You want to take all the work that you just did and leave it in your therapist's office. Okay. I always explain it like this: in trauma treatment, in reprocessing, we paint a room. We painted the walls of a room. It's a beautiful color. You love it. It's perfect. You're so glad you went with that color. So we want to let the walls dry. We want to let that paint dry so that it dries nice and smooth and it looks good, right? So we just created these new neural pathways in our brain and we want to let them stay. Your brain may continue to do some reprocessing after a session. That may be in the background. It may come up as thoughts or images. And your job is to contain it in between sessions. I was describing this to a friend once, and she said, so like EMDR has anti-homework? Anti-homework. Yeah, it is. It does have anti-homework. It's not like other therapies where your therapist is like, okay, go ahead and think about this, journal about this, practice talking to this about this thing with this person, and we'll come back and chat about it next week. With EMDR, it's don't you think about this thing, put it in your container, contain it as much as you need to. When you come back into this office, into this safe space, whether it's on the screen or in a physical space, then we'll revisit it. In the meantime, your job is to take care of yourself, right? Don't take your trauma home and ruminate on it, right? Even though you might have made some remarkable progress in your EMDR session and you're feeling better and you think it might be really safe to think about or talk about your trauma in between sessions, it's best to give your brain some time. Ideally, 1 to 2 weeks between sessions, just to give your brain time to continue processing in the background. And then by the time you go back into your therapist office, you're going to check back in with that work, with that memory that you were working on in EMDR, and you're going to see how it's doing. Okay, you're going to see if you messed up that paint or not. I hope this helps.